Am I the asshole for asking my husband if I can cheat on him after finding out he cheated on me? I recently became a mom to a beautiful 3-month-old baby girl. I live in a big Indian joint family, and I feel really blessed with how much love and support I've received from my in-laws. My husband, 32 male, my in-laws, 2 brother-in-laws, 3 sister-in-laws, and a few teenage nieces all live under the same roof. And my in-laws truly treat me like their daughter. My husband and I have been married for a few years, and I honestly thought we were solid. The trouble started during one of our family's regular dress-up nights, a fun little tradition we have where everyone in the family dresses up and spends the evening together, laughing, taking pictures, and just enjoying each other's company. I especially love these nights because of my nieces. They're teenagers, and it's always a blast seeing how excited they get about picking out outfits and having fun. However, during this particular dress-up night, my mother-in-law pulled me aside. She seemed a little uncomfortable but told me there was something I needed to see. She showed me some WhatsApp messages that my husband had mistakenly sent to her instead of another woman. He had sent them thinking they were going to this woman, and they were clearly romantic and suggestive. From the way the messages were worded, it was obvious he had been having an affair with her. My mother-in-law said he probably deleted the messages for him instead of for everyone and didn't notice. When I confronted my husband, he didn't deny it. In fact, he admitted that he had been cheating on me. What hurt the most was how he tried to justify it. He said that men have needs, and because I was pregnant and then recovering after childbirth, he wasn't getting what he needed from me. He claimed that it was just physical and meant nothing. I felt like he was brushing off my feelings as if what he did was no big deal just because it wasn't emotional for him. But it was a huge deal for me. I was shattered. Here I was, still recovering from childbirth, physically and emotionally exhausted from taking care of our newborn, and he was running around behind my back. I was angry and hurt beyond words, and in the heat of the moment, I lashed out and I asked him, if it's just physical, should I go find someone else too? I wanted him to understand how it felt to be on the receiving end of the betrayal. He got furious. He stormed out, claiming I was being disrespectful and that I went too far by suggesting I could cheat on him in return. Now, here's where things get complicated. My in-laws are all on my side. They are furious with my husband for what he's done. They've made it clear they don't support this behavior. They've been incredibly supportive of me and our baby, which I deeply appreciate. They are even on my side if I decide to divorce him. However, when I talked to my own mother about this, she told me I took things too far by saying I cheat on him. She said I should have handled it differently without stooping to his level. But that wasn't the only thing she told me. Apparently, my mom had known about the affair for a while. She had seen my husband with this other woman at some point, but didn't tell me because she didn't want her granddaughter to grow up without a father. I'm devastated. Not only did my husband cheat, but my own mother kept it from me. I understand she had her reasons, but I feel completely betrayed by the people closest to me. Now my husband is upset, claiming that my comment about cheating on him was out of line. Even though it was made in the heat of the moment, fueled by his betrayal, my mom also seems to think I went too far, even though she knew about his affair and chose to stay silent. So here I am trying to make sense of everything. My in-laws are on my side, my husband is mad at me, and my mom thinks I should have kept my cool. Am I the asshole for asking if I could cheat on my husband after finding out that he cheated on me? Should I have handled things differently? No, I never want to cheat. It was just to make him understand how crazy he sounded.
Who the fuck were my friends? I had a huge friend group my freshman year of high school, and we broke up in a crazy way. I got hazed. That was fun, and I've always wanted to tell the story. It's been years, and I still think about it from time to time. Yeah, it was a very traumatizing time in my life. Growing up, I didn't have many friends. I didn't have any besties, especially in middle school. I was bullied viciously in middle school, and I would honestly spend most of my free time and lunch in the library. The librarian was my best friend. My 8th grade year of middle school, my parents moved the entire family to a predominantly white area. Big new house, huge neighborhood. I'm talking multiple entrances. The neighborhood is bigger now. I don't live there anymore. But at the time when I was living there, they were starting to build the 4th entrance. There were 3 entrances into the neighborhood. It was huge. Big new school, really nice school. And I was just excited to start my new life because I wanted a new group of friends. I needed a new scenery. I was tired of being alone all the time. I was sick and tired of being bullied. I was in that very awkward in-between stage of life. And I saw this move as an opportunity. So comes my first day of school, I get to the bus stop. I realize that I'm one of the only Black kids at the bus stop. And when I get on the bus, I'm one of the only few Black kids at the bus. Like I said, it's a predominantly white area. So in my school, I was part of like a handful of Black students that were the only Black kids in the school for like the first 1 to 2 years of, just me living in that area. Later on, more Black kids and more people of color started moving down to my old area. But at that time, my freshman and sophomore year of high school, me and like a handful of other Black kids were the Black kids that went to that school. There was barely any Black kids there. But going back to my first day of school, I notice I'm one of the only black kids at the bus stop. I get on the bus and I sit next to the first black girl that I see. We're going to name her Samantha. We start chatting a little bit. She also recently moved to the neighborhood. We started talking about how, like, we're like one of the few black kids and we're kind of excited to see each other. What I thought was solidarity talk, not knowing should become one of my fucking biggest ops while I was at that school. I go through school the entire day. I'm going through classes. I honestly feel like a black dot in a sea of milk. Like, it was so awkward, like, my first few weeks at that new school, because even though I went to a pretty diverse elementary school, my middle school was majority black. It was mostly black kids. So it was a bit of like a culture shock. But I soon got used to that. First day of school ends, I get on the bus and I go to the back of the bus. Most of the friend group that I was in, they were all sitting at the back of the bus. They start talking, we start like connecting, and like we all add each other on social media, specifically Snapchat. And we had a Snapchat group name that I was our neighborhood name and fam. So purposes of privacy, I'm just going to call it Winslow fam. That was the group chat name. There was at least 10 people in our friend group. It was a mixture of boys and girls. People are in a higher grade, people in a lower grade. That's just how it was. At least 5 people that were in the friend group got off at my stop, and I got really close to them, especially with this guy. I'm going to call him Weasley because he was in a grade higher than me. And on top of that, I thought he was cute. I had a crush on him. And our houses were close to each other, so we would walk down and like just talk. That motherfucker, though, turned on my ass. Just let me get there. So that would be my routine. We'll talk, we'll snap each other, we'll talk in these group chats, we'll go to each other's houses, basically getting really comfortable with each other. In the neighborhood, in that friend group, in the neighborhood, there were 4 main black kids that were in that friend group, which was myself, Samantha, we're going to call this kid Leviathan, and his sister Elizabeth. Elizabeth and Leviathan lived on the second pickup. Like I said, there were 3 entrances, so 3 times that the bus had to stop in my neighborhood to pick up kids. They lived at the second stop. They were one of the black kids that were living in the neighborhood for the longest at the time, and they were one of the first people who, started this little friend group and everything. So especially Elizabeth, I'd go to her and I'd talk to her and we'd snap each other. I thought I was getting close with her. Thoughts. Especially when it comes to Elizabeth, because I really thought she was my friend, because like I said, growing up in school, like especially middle school, I was bullied. I was always in the library. I was a big reader. And when I found out that she also loved reading books, I was so excited. There were a couple other people in the friend group that didn't really like them that much. One girl, we're going to call her Texas. Spoiled little bitch. Let me watch my mouth. Spoiled little individual, okay? She had a uncle that had money, and let's just say she was spoiled a lot, and honestly, she was a fake friend to my best friend, and we're going to call my best friend that was also in the friend group that I'm still best friends with to this day. We're just going to call her... What do I call her without giving her away? We're going to call her Mary. Another girl that I really didn't like in the friend group, we're going to call her Lorax. She becomes a big problem later on. We have the Bama twins, 2 people that snuck their way into the group that no one really liked but kept on sitting with us, a lot older than us, and kept on starting problems. We're just going to call them the Bama twins. Let's just say Clark Kent, a little white boy that was very fucking messy. You would not think he was messy just by his looks off alone, but very fucking messy. We have Steven, who was in the friend group, but really not. He was a bit of a troublemaker, so we tried not to talk to him that much because he was always in and out of trouble. And those were the people that I can think of off the top of my head. Months go by, I'm getting into the routine of talking with people, navigating just relationships in that friend group, navigating school, being one of the only few black kids in that school, dealing with micro and macro aggressions from my other students, and honestly some of the teachers as well, dealing with issues in that friend group, because my god, they were some of the fakest people in that friend group. Jesus. When it came to Texas and Lorax, they literally started problems all the damn time. They would always talk about other people in the friend group, talk about other people in the friend group to me or to other people, and then it would cause drama, and then they would fight on Snapchat, and people would leave the group chat and then have other people bring them back in. They were always causing drama, always talking smack about someone, especially when it came to my best friend, Mary. it would be a problem because it would seem like everybody would gang up on Mary all the time, and it just didn't seem fair. When it comes to Samantha, like I said, she became my biggest freaking biggest fucking hater. Thought we were going to be great friends. Like I said, first black kid that I sat next to the bus, first black kid that I saw try to latch onto her. Turns out she was doing a lot of shit talking, especially after the situation that I'm going to tell you guys about soon. She was always talking smack about me to Leviathan. I ended up confronting her in the bathroom. I would say about 2 to 3 months after, I think a year after that situation that I'm about to tell you about, because that hazing situation I'm gonna have to break down. It might even be in part 2 because it's a long story. But like I said, I'm navigating my friendships with these people, navigating being one of the only few black kids in the school, dealing with many dramas here and there, people arguing, people fighting. I would say the people that I thought I was closest to in that friend group would be Weasley. Like I said, I had a little bit of a crush on him, and like he lives close with me. Marie. And what did I call her? Elizabeth, because she also liked reading, so much so that I lended her my copy of Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. If you're a book reader and you grew up reading books, especially in the 2010s, you know exactly what book I'm talking about. I thought we were close. There was also a lot of anti-black issues when it came to the black kids in the friend group. Like I said, I went to a predominantly white school and did deal with microaggressions all the time, but it also seemed like the black kids in the friend group allowed things to slide, allowed racial jokes to pass, would get mad at me when I would say that white kids shouldn't be saying the N-word. And I specifically remember Samantha, Leviathan, and Elizabeth ganging up on me on the bus, saying that I just want a word I can keep all to myself, and the N-word can be said by anyone. Who cares? It's history. You just want to gatekeep a word. I'm being basically ganged up by the three other black kids in my friend group. It was basically months of little tussles here and there, and just petty and stupid stuff that normally happens in a teenage friend group, right? But I still loved it because, like I said, I never really had a big friend group growing up. I only had 1 to 2 friends at most at the time, especially in elementary school and in middle school. So I was letting anything slide. Any disrespect, any shit talking, anything that was like, Nadia, we're going to have to revoke your black card for that. I was letting anything slide. I was a very lonely and depressed kid, especially in middle school, like I said. So I was just taking any little crumbs anybody was willing to give me. But here comes the problem. I would say about like 4 to 5 months after, me starting the new school year, one of the black kids, Leviathan, pops the question, Nadia, what would you do if we pushed you into a bush? I would also like to mention, I forgot one kid in this friend group. We're going to call him Christian. He was also someone who was in the friend group and basically one of the other guys that were in my grade. So as I left off, Leviathan asked me, Nadia, how would you feel if we pushed you into a bush? Mind you, he asked me that question when we were sitting at the back of the bus and we were going home and it was a rainy day that day. I asked him, why would you ask that question? That's a really weird thing to ask somebody. I'm not sure. Everybody, like our friends that were sitting in the back, were just like staring and being all weird and cryptic around me when he asked that question. And he's just trying to brush it off like, never mind, it was just a joke, we were just talking. I'm just like, okay, whatever. A couple months go by, I would say like a month or 2 goes by, and in that time, I'm getting even closer with Elizabeth. I even lent her a copy of The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, which was one of my favorite books I was reading at the time, and I really wanted her to read it. Then the fateful day comes, where I was sitting at the back of the bus and we were going home. And like I said, there are 3 stops in the neighborhood. Mine was the first stop in the morning. Elizabeth and Leviathan stop. The other half of the kids, where they get off, theirs is the second stop in the morning. But coming back from school, theirs is the first stop. And then my stop is the second stop. So it's reverse. I had a really good day that day. The vibes were really great on the bus that day. No one was arguing. There was no weird stuff that was going on. Nobody was arguing. Everybody was on the bus that day. No one had practice. No one had cheer. No one had soccer after school. Everybody was on the bus. Because some days, all of us wouldn't be on the bus because some of the people in the friend group had extracurricular activities like cheer, like I said, soccer, football, etc. Especially since it was fresh, fall semester. So they were basically doing football practice and starting off for like the football season. Some of the kids in our friend group were in varsity football. They were really good. Everybody's on the bus. Like I said, everybody's on the bus. The vibes are vibing. We kind of get close to the stop and they all turn around, and I think Ron was the first one that asked me. It was either Ron or Leviathan that asked me, hey, Nadia, come to get off the first stop. Like, we all just want to walk home together. I've never done that before because, like I said, the neighborhood was huge, and their side of the neighborhood is about 25 to a 30-minute walk from my side of the neighborhood. It was a long walk, and I was new to the neighborhood, and I didn't want to get lost. I'm saying, no, I don't want to do that. I kind of just want to go home. I'm tired. Weasley decides to say, it's okay, we'll just walk home together. Mind you, he lives close to me, and normally I walk home with him. We talk and everything on the way home. So I'm like, okay, if Weasley's getting off, that's fine. So my dumb ass gets off the bus. And I had a bad feeling, but I ignored it. And this is why you should have never ignore your intuition. We start walking. We're walking. We passed the bus stop. We're walking. We're passing houses. They're pointing out whose house is that. I'm like, who lives in that big ass house? Who lives there? Who lives there? And Elizabeth comes and like she puts her arm around me, just like really tight, like just really grabs me. She's like, hi, Nadia. Next thing I know, I get shoved so hard into this bush. I don't know who shoved me. To this day, I don't know who shoved me first. Yes, I got shoved twice. First time it went down, I was so shocked because everything went down. I had an Android phone at the time. It fell. The battery came out. The screen cracked. I literally scratched up. Like, I was like fucked when I got home. Like, I looked fucked up when I got home. I was also in that kind of in-between phase of like skinnying out and also still having a bunch of baby fat, so like my clothes were fitting weird on me, so like my top was lifting up, like I felt like my underwear was out, like I looked fucking crazy. And of course they were recording. And then fucking Lorax, with her stupid dumb ass, decides that she wants to be funny. Mind you, already didn't like the girl, and she decides to come and push me again. But this time I was ready. I literally got up, I chased her down and punched her in the back of the head. What I really wanted to do was really beat her ass. Like like I feel like God whispered in my ear in that moment, like, don't do it, Nadia. Don't do it. I'm upset. I'm crying. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm itchy. I have scratches. I break out in hives when I get home. Literally, shit was in my eye. My eye was blurry. Like, phone screen cracked. Like, hair a mess. Just itchy. Having reaction. It was so bad. Everybody starts yelling, why would you hit Lorax? Why would you hit Lorax, Nadia? Why would you hit her? Why would you hit her? That, oh my God, it was just a joke. It was just a joke. They pushed me into these like hedges. You know those thick hedges that like kind of frame the walkways? They're not too tall, but they're not small either. That's the shit that they pushed me into. Thick ass hedges that were close to the road. I'm crying, like I said. I'm basically having a freak out moment because I'm just like, I thought these people were my friends. Why would they do this to me? Like, my phone screen is cracked. I look crazy. Like, what is going on here? I refused to walk back with them. My dad was home that day, and I was able to pop my Android battery back in my phone. I call my dad. I'm like, can you please come pick me up? I mean, he's like getting mad at me. He's like, why are you even on that side of the neighborhood anyway? You're supposed to come straight home. Like, what are you doing? He picks me up. I tell my mom what happened. I'm crying. I'm upset. I had to go take a shower. Literally, my eye was like fucking blurry. There was shit in my eye. Scratched up, had to put Neurosporin and everything, literally breaking out in highs. And my mom is literally upset. She doesn't know if she wants to be upset at me for like getting off at that stop. Because like I said in previous video, my parents are African. They're kind of strict. So like, they were very weird about it. I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't react in a way that your parents would probably react to this situation. But they were more so pissed at me for getting off at that stop. My mom's freaking out because she thinks it's another case of bullying. Like I said, I went through vicious bullying in middle school, and like she'd get calls about it all the time, and she thought it was another situation. So she basically calls the school and calls the principal and everything. And I'm upset. Like I'm like on social media trying to like unfollow people, and I go on the Winslow fam group chat on Snapchat, and they're just talking shit about me. Nadia's such a fake bitch. They're calling out parents, because as soon as I called the school went and started calling the people their parents, like I think that afternoon or that morning. So it was either that afternoon or that morning, I forget when I checked the Winslow group chat, was when I saw they were just talking mad shit. Holy shit. Funny enough, before I even checked the Winslow group chat on Snapchat, when I first opened Snapchat, I got a message from Leviathan. He was saying, I'm sorry, what's happening? They're talking about you in the group chat, and I'm freaking out because, like, why are they talking about me? Like, what the fuck? Like, what did I do? I'm not the one who got pushed here. My bad. I'm not the one who freaking assaulted anyone else in the group here. Why am I the one being talked about right now? I opened the group chat. They're talking shit about me, saying I was such a fake bitch, and they're calling their parents. It's down to third. And Clark Kent, the little fucking messy white boy, like I said, very fucking messy. He took a photo, I think a screenshot of this book, How to Lose All Your Friends, and scratched out my name, scratched out the author's name and put by Nadia Ajakum. To this day, I still remember that because it's just like, you bitches fucking assaulted me. You guys hazed me, recorded it, laughed and everything. And then you're saying how to lose all my friends. Are you crazy? I don't even want to think about that too hard. Next day I go to school, they call me into the office, they're calling a whole bunch of people into the office, they're putting people in detention. They don't put fucking Lorix's ass in detention. Lorix, for some reason, somehow, even though she was the one who pushed me the second time, they don't put her in detention. They put Leviathan and Elizabeth in detention with me. I get detention, even though I was the one who was assaulted. I know. Lorix's parents are trying to talk to my parents, trying to talk it out. Mind you, her and her parents, there's some really fucking shady people even to this day. So I'm kind of glad they never even really got to talk to my mom like that, because like the schedules were kind of opposing. So like they couldn't really have a chance to talk with my mom. And I'm kind of glad, because honestly, now that we've grown up and like other shit has happened over the years, there's some really weird fucking people. She, for some reason, gets out of the entire thing because I punched her in the back of the head. Like, oops, sorry, self-defense. I really should have done more. But people start getting detention. People are in trouble. They're talking about me. I'm sitting in the front of the bus when I'm going home. I'm getting dirty looks from upperclassmen. Like these racist white upperclassmen. Like I'm getting dirty fucking looks from them. Mind you, like I said in the previous part, I was one of the few black kids in the school. And a lot of the kids in that friend group were friends with upperclassmen, especially when it came to sports and stuff, cheer and football. I'm getting dirty looks from these big ass fucking senior men, dirty looks from these cheer girls, dirty looks from people I don't even know. The video is all over this fucking school. My friends that were like, you know, quote unquote acquaintances that I ended up becoming really close with during the rest of the years in high school, they have seen the video and they're on my fucking side. Of course. The principal threatens to call the police on Elizabeth because, like I said previously, I lended her a copy of The Red Queen. I'm like, I want my fucking book back, okay? I gave you my book, and if you're a book person, we don't lend out our shit. All right, to boom. As I left off in part 2, the principal basically threatens to call the police on Elizabeth because she has my copy of The Red Queen, the book that I lent her. And if you're a reader like myself, we don't lend out our books. We're scared that it's going to get damaged and whatnot. So when I lent out my book to her, I think a week or two before the hazing incident happened, I felt very betrayed. So me and Elizabeth had health class together, and I end up getting my book the beginning or the end of health class. She gives it back to me. A teacher makes sure, like, a teacher's there to make sure like it goes smoothly and we don't start arguing or anything like that, just to make sure everything's okay. She gives me back my book. But like I said in the previous video, it's like I turned into like the school fucking pariah. Like I was eating lunch back in the library again, even though you weren't supposed to eat in the library. Like I would even eat lunch. I'd buy like the little Welch's gummy packets and just sit there for weeks just eating up there because like I had no friends again. I was getting dirty looks from people that I didn't know. All of these basically men, like I said, people on the varsity football team were giving me dirty looks. People on the cheer team were giving me looks. People that I don't even know were giving me looks. Acting like I was the crazy one. I'm the violent ghetto black girl because I punched poor Lorax in the back of the head, even though she assaulted me. Everyone was so concerned about Lorax, like, oh my God, like, and mind you, I never got an apology from that girl to this day. Everyone was so like, oh my God, this poor girl, like the big ghetto aggressive black girl punched her in the back of the head over this harmless prank. And other than like the few acquaintances that I had that I would talk to in class, I was honestly alone. My best friend, Mary, the one who was also in my friend group and was there, I wasn't talking to her either. We shared a math class. And she tried talking to me saying that it's not that serious. Like this is something that they do to everyone in the neighborhood. And when they did it to her, she started limping and she had to limp her way home. Like I was supposed to get over it. She was clearly brainwashed. Okay. She was dealing with some issues with other people in the friend group, and she was brainwashed. She's not to dump on my bestie because I love her. We're very close to this, like close, honestly. I don't know, I was tripping over my words there. But she was the type of individual at that time, just like how I was desperate to have friends and be liked because I didn't have very many friends in middle school. She was desperate at that time for attention and also to be liked as well and to fit in and to be with the rest of the kids. So she was just letting a lot of shit slide. And like I said in the previous videos, there were issues of people in our friend group ganging up on her, from issues of slut shaming her because, you know, at that age, we were all interested in boys doing things that were stupid, probably doing stupid things that we shouldn't have been doing. But it wasn't like an uncommon thing that people in the friend group would just gang up on her and just basically slut shame her, call her stupid, just doing crazy shit. But anyway, months go by for like the next, I would say like from fall semester into the spring semester, I was sitting at the very front of the bus, and I sat next to this girl, and she ends up becoming one of my best friends. Her name is Val, and she's part of my current friend group. Maria, Val, and me, we're all super close. Those are my besties. But I would be sitting in the front of the bus, and I can just hear them just talking about me constantly, especially that fucking Samantha girl. That's Samantha girl. The weirdo, okay? She's always talked shit about me, but like during this time, she was just eating that shit up and just talking about me at the top of her voice, writing shit down on paper. And like I said in the first video, after the situation, because that happened my freshman year, sophomore year, she was still talking shit, and I ended up confronting her in the bathroom. And honestly, that was the only time I was tempted to start a fight at my new school. Okay, I did get into one fight in middle school, and that was unexpected. But that girl tempted to start my first fight in a high school bathroom. But like I said, I was sitting at the front of the bus most of the time, hearing people talking about me, being the fucking social pariah, people laughing and giggling, and people basically sending the video around. I never watched the video. I still have never seen the video to this day, nor do I ever want to see that video. But I would say maybe January comes around, and Elizabeth pulls me to the side, and we talk, and she apologizes. And basically, slowly people from the friend group come up to apologize to me, except for fucking Samantha, obviously, and Lorax. To this day, Texas is still being a weirdo. And let me not forget, Texas, when this first happened, when I would be sitting at the front of the bus, when it freshly happened, they freshly hazed me, she would yell at the top of her fucking lungs at the back of the bus, saying that her uncle, I don't know, fucking Flipper the Fish, I don't care, would sue me and my family for everything I'm worth if I ever put my hands on her. She's bringing that ghetto black stuff up to where they are. They don't do that kind of behavior here. Mind you, she has a lot of family issues, and she has a half black sister. That is I'm telling you, some days I think about that poor little girl. I'm just like, the shit that you must probably be going through and the internalized shit that you are probably dealing with at this age. I just feel fucking bad for her. But she would literally say shit at the top of her lungs, oh, I would sue her, she's so ghetto, this is why she doesn't like black people, a whole bunch of stuff. The girl was just a racist. But going back, I slowly started, back in January, Elizabeth came. She was the one who apologized to me first, then Leviathan, and basically a lot of the people in the friend group slowly started apologizing to me and stuff, except for Texas, Samantha, and fucking Lorax. And my pathetic ass, like I said, when I was in middle school, I barely had any friends, and I went through a lot of bullying. So I honestly forgave them and started sitting and hanging out with them again, which was just a bad fucking idea. But after that situation, the group was never the fucking same again. People were kind of fighting about the situation, about why are you hanging out with her? Why don't you want to apologize? It came a very weird kind of vibe. And it honestly just wasn't the same after that. Spring semester comes and goes. The summer comes and goes. I'm hanging out with some of the people in that friend group, specifically Mary, and we become really close after my freshman year. And like I said, she's now my best friend. And a lot of people don't talk with each other and a lot of people were fighting. I honestly like to think I blew that shit up. It's like, you guys fucked with me and now I fucked up the entire group you guys had going on for the past 3 years. Like, you should have never messed with me. That's just how I like to think about it to make myself feel better. Mary and Texas used to be very close. They are no longer friends, which isn't surprising. Texas was a bad friend to Mary, a racist, a bad friend, and just all over, just a weird individual. Don't know where she is right now in life and really don't care. Lorax, like I said, she never really apologized, but I remember vividly at the time, like, she liked to pretend like that situation never happened. Like, she would try to talk with me and like try to hold conversations with me, but in like a way like, oh, that situation never happened, that she never pushed me, I never punched her. It was very weird. And I'm the type of person, when something happens, if you do something weird with me, I can't be friends with you, especially if we can't talk about it. And even if we do talk about it, I'm like just the type of person, it's just like, you're weird to me once, we can't talk. Obviously not to the point where I clearly didn't stop hanging out with the group, because honestly, I was pathetic and desperate at that time. But I still had that semblance of like, you pushed me and you embarrassed me and you really hurt my feelings. And you're trying to brush over it, and we never, talked about it, and you never apologized. But honestly, after that freshman year of high school, a lot of the people, like I said, they're no longer friends, or like we barely sat next to each other, and then we started getting out permits, and then eventually people started just breaking off. Like new people would enter the friend group, and then like there would be more fighting, and then there would be more drama. And then basically after my sophomore year, junior year, it was still the same way. Lots of fucking drama all the time. But, at that time we had cars. We weren't going to be with each other 24/7. And then COVID hit. And I spent my junior and senior year during like quarantine. So graduated. Never saw those people again. Except for Mary, of course. The one thing that always bothered me about the situation was just how the adults reacted. It was just like, I understand, even though it doesn't make sense, why the kids would, be like that towards me. Why people were siding with the neighborhood kids, why people were, making me this pariah. But what I never understood was, because a lot of the parents of the kids in the friend group, they saw the video, they watched the video, and they labeled me as the problem. And we all know why.